And we are live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another TFNation 2025 live stream with myself, TF Nosey, son of SG1, Tony,
Hello.
and Mr. Adam White. The man, the myth, the
Hello.
legend that is Adam White. So, we are here for a hotel hunt live stream talking about hotel information. So, without further ado, I'll pass it on to Adam and he can do his little presentation and we'll get onto some chat afterwards.
I think
Over to
first,
you, my friend.
thank you. Firstly, I think we need to acknowledge that in the history of the UK Transformers fandom, I have never heard Nolsey do such a short and concise introduction to anything ever.
That is true.
He normally hasn't even finished saying hello, I'm Nolsey by this point.
Ridiculous. Sorry I haven't done a video in such a long time, but I've had this, that, and that, and done this, done that, and gone there, and you know.
Well, usually when I first start a stream, there's nobody watching, so I kind of like fill in the void with a lot of unnecessary chat until people start watching.
Bless. Right. So, hello, folks. We're going to get a couple of things out of the way. First off, this is going to be a little bit more of a relaxed, casual chat, as opposed to a big script where I go through a lot of heavy info. Now, there's reasons for that, but one of them is that we've already done a stream before, and I'm going to ask Nolsey if he wouldn't mind putting the link to the original recording in the show notes for this stream once it's all done and dusted.
Yes,
that's okay.
Lovely. Yeah.
Great. That said, though, probably need to cover the basic rules again, and that is, first up, if you're concerned about a particular issue, reach out to TFNation directly. Contact TFNation via their official website or the official Facebook. Do it now while you have the time, and you can discuss any issue you have. Don't wait until the week of the event. Don't wait until the last minute. They won't be able to help you much as they want to. And believe me, TFNation want to help everybody enjoy themselves. Okay? And speaking of that, I am not speaking on behalf of TFNation. I have nothing to do with the Birmingham event. So therefore, if you need any core information, double check with them. Right. Now that we've covered that, why on earth are we here? Well, TFNation is being held at the Birmingham Hilton Metropole. All the Hilton Metropole rooms have sold out, or rather, they have appeared to sell out. And people have commented that the lack of a Hilton room will ruin TFNation for them. They're frustrated that they've not been able to get a hotel room. They are in short supply. We understand, us being previous attendees and long-standing attendees, we know what it's like. However, staying at somewhere other than Hilton won't ruin your experience. And if you're new and you're a little bit unsure and you don't know what's going on and you want to get a hotel room for TFNation, don't worry. You have many other options, both close to the Hilton and further afield, but you do need to look at them now whilst you look at different options now, whilst you have the time and the opportunity. Now, we've run through a lot of this stuff on a previous stream before, which Nolsey's going to put a link to in the show notes for this. And you'll find it under the imaginatively titled The Yet Untitled Live Stream on Thrussell's channel. So if you follow the link, you'll see our three handsome faces there. Mine looking especially baked beanish. And you'll be that gives you a full rundown of all the pros and cons of many of the hotels. Okay, so we're going to skip a little lighter on that this time around. However, what am I adding to this? Well, I'm adding updated hotel availability as of yesterday at 6 p.m. British Summer Time. I'm adding the Arden and the Holiday Inn Express because we've had feedback actually from the Facebook community, as well as somebody's given me some thoughts on the city centre hotels, which is really nice. I'll also update you on the use of cash at both the Hilton and the Moxie, and maybe give you a little bit of a warning. And also, I have a very brief mention of travel planning and also the realities of travel costs. And when I say that, this is really going to be quite a lot on these two gentlemen with me here, because if anything, I've had some assumptions that I've gotten wrong all these years. And I've only realized where I've made my own mistakes on this whilst preparing for this show. So we'll do that right at the end. But yeah, how did I get this information? Well, here's the thing. If you just stick in search hotels near NEC Birmingham in Google Maps and then just select an individual date and the amount of people in a room, you will find out exactly what hotel rooms are free near the NEC. And it seems like a basic thing, but a lot of people don't use maps that way. But you can do that. You can find and build out an idea of what hotels around are available and when they're actually sold out. And you'll notice by looking at the map, and don't worry, we'll go through these individually as we switch through hotels. But the main thing to realize here is a lot of the hotels are still very, very good value for money. They haven't gone up. And almost all of the rooms are free for all of the nights. The only 2 nights that are sold out are the Hilton for the Friday and the Saturday. And that means that it doesn't matter whether you're going Thursday to Sunday, Friday to Sunday, Saturday to Monday. The fact is, you've not been able to get yourself a hotel room at the Hilton. And that's why, because of those 2 days. However, if you were thinking, well, if I spend a couple of days at maybe the Moxie or the Crown Plaza or another hotel, I really want to spend the last Sunday night at TFNation at the Hilton Metropole. At the time of recording, you can still do that. It's just a case of you planning your trip. As we said before, just a little bit of planning. So let's zip through these nice and quickly. We'll talk about the Hilton first. So the Hilton, remember, it's the location of TFN, so it's very desirable, yes. However, you are right in the heart of the convention for the whole weekend. Some people like a bit of a break. It is sold out on the 2 days, but you have got that option on the Sunday. And it's not the greatest hotel in the world. It's just a hotel. And honestly, there's no huge pressure on you having to be there to experience the full TFNation feeling. You've got the Moxie, which is like about 5 minutes away. As you can see, prices getting really quite pricey now. They've probably only got a room or 2 left. Cheaper on the Sunday, yes, but expensive on that Friday and Saturday. Is it worth it? Well, if you desperately want to be close to the Hilton and you're worried that if you're any further away, you're going to somehow miss out, then by all means book it. But again, there are a lot of better options. Okay. Jumping straight through to what we had before. This is showing you how close some of these hotels are to the Hilton. You've got the Hilton there, you've got the Moxie, you've got the Genting, which we called Resort World, and the Crown Plaza. And this is one of the ones that I've added this time around, the Arden. And I'll talk about its positioning in a second. Genting, we already talked about. Ironically, actually, so many things have changed even since our last stream, even since last week when I was checking prices. The Genting almost seems cheap compared to some of the things here. But again, there are still rooms available. I mean, honestly, there are so many better options around that are so much cheaper. But if you want that central location, it is still available, which is kind of shocking to me. Because right next door to it, you've got the Crown Plaza. Now, the Crown Plaza has a Google review of 4.3. It's better than most of the things on here, and look at those prices. If you have any concerns, if you just you're worried about traveling around, you want one place to go for TFNation over the whole weekend that is a simple walk, that you don't have to worry when it gets late, you don't have to worry about getting lost. It's one path by the lake all the way around. This is where you go. I cannot, for any newcomers here that want to find somewhere, this has got to be one of the best options because it's got everything and it's close by. God, we're zipping through here. Arden, right? Arden. This is where it gets a little bit funky. Arden, and at the end as well, I'm going to talk about Facebook and the community group because I need to thank them for their help here. If you look at this map, you'll see this is a walking map. Walking directions, and it goes all the way around to the Styles and then all the way around to the NEC for what is a hell of a hike. I think it's about 30-40 minutes. This isn't the directions. There is a problem with the directions that people get from the Arden to the NEC. And when I say, oh, it's just a Google Maps thing, no, it's actually so important. It's such a serious issue. The Arden themselves have a thing on their website where they talk about sat-nav users having issues and walking, like pedestrians having issues, and how much of a ball ache it is for them to get to the NEC. And it's not that it's a long distance. It's that, unfortunately, some of the maps are unreliable and also some of the directions are not always open. And all I mean by that is there is a little footbridge just down the road from the Arden that you can get to go to the NEC, and it takes 5 minutes. However, that's sometimes shut. So if it's open, great. If it's not, you have to go another route. The other route is going towards the station and you just use a footbridge, or you go straight to Birmingham International Station, the train station. All in all, it's going to take you about 10-15 minutes tops. That's nothing. And it's a nice, simple route as well. And trust me, if you're going to stay at the Arden, which you can do for the whole weekend, the staff there are going to be intimately aware of these problems. So they will give you so much advice when it comes to directions. It's unbelievable. And it is, the Arden is very affordable. I mean, on the Sunday as well, it's one of the only places that drops into the 25 to 50 pound bracket. So you know that's good value for money. And yeah, at that price as well, get taxis in the evening. At that price, you could get a chauffeur in the evening. It's ridiculous. The only thing I would say is, of course, like a lot of other things, it does rely mostly, depending on the other routes, mostly on you going through the NEC. So, of course, after 1 a.m, you do need to be aware of any travel. Also, although the Arden has a lot of extra facilities, like it has a leisure club there, has a pool there, has a gym there, it doesn't have the greatest Google review. So, although nobody said anything bad to me, there's got to be a reason for that Google review. So, again, be aware. Maybe do a bit of extra research. We covered the NEC and traveling across the NEC. You got the styles. So the styles near to the station, you use the NEC. Look at the price. It's really, really good. And you can book the whole weekend. Fantastic. Premier Inn. Again, the longer walk. This is the one that if you don't mind the walk, it's okay. But this is where I would maybe use judgment for people who are first timers. But that price is so ridiculously cheap. You are saving a fortune. Now, one thing to note, when I say as well, those Google prices, it's rooms from, I don't know, say the price is £50. That means the room is from £50. So it might mean that breakfast is extra. It might mean that a premium upgrade is extra. We all understand that. We've all booked hotels. We understand it. However, if you've got something as cheap as the Premier Inn, my goodness, you could add on every extra under the sun, and you still wouldn't get near to the prices of some of the other hotels. So if you've got the option, do it. It's like they've got an upgrade to the Premier Inn room where you get a coffee machine. Oh, bliss, bliss. Anyway, that's just my personal opinions on caffeine coming through there. Holiday Inn Express, they have the similar problem to the Arden. You can see the walking map here is literally going all around the houses. But the Holiday Inn Express is only about 2 minutes away from the Premier Inn. So it's just a long walk through car parks. Now, the lovely Nick Snowden recommended this to me. However, Nick did say as well that when he was staying there, he was staying at an event at the NEC. That's very important because if you're going to the NEC, which is just there to there, that's the difference between going there to there or going all the way to the Hilton. And especially at night, that's an extra walk. This is probably the one hotel that unless you are super confident or you have a car, I wouldn't advise you use as a backup. But it's there if you need it. Okay, we talked about the hotels at the airport. So just to run through the IBIS budget and the ANEC. So this is when the IBIS decided on the staggeringly intelligent choice of putting 2 different brands of hotel under their same company in the same building, only differentiated by a small badge on the side of where they are. The prices are slightly different, so make sure you know which one you're booking for. And of course, if you book at the budget, you'll get a budget room. If you book at the IBIS Birmingham, you'll get a slightly better room. I think it's just the addition of tea and coffee and a slightly nicer decor, but it might make the difference for you. Again, it's decent price. Yeah, unless you're staying out late every night and you don't want to walk and you don't like the idea of paying for a taxi, I can't see why anyone wouldn't take it. However, I can't see why anyone would take the Novotel because although it's not gone up as much as others on the list, it's aimed at a commuter. It's aimed at a corporate person. It's aimed at a business person. And as much as you might like it, and it is compact and it might be a little bit suitable, you're paying for the convenience of basically stuff that a commuter would like. But you're going to a convention. You're not going to be spending a lot of time in your room. So maybe choose something else. There are better options closer that are less money. And speaking of choosing things that are less money, oh my goodness. Right. So a week before I did the first presentation, the rooms at the Hilton Garden Inn were 60 quid a night. And on the last presentation, I said that they were shooting up almost like every time I refreshed the screen. At the time of recording, the time I wrote this down last night, they had just hit £175 a night for one of these rooms. This is a 3-star hotel. This is lower in star rating than almost any other hotel on this list. The reason that people are doing this is simple. Everyone knows the Hilton. Whether you like it or not, the Hilton is a brand. When the Hilton Metropole is busy, people see another Hilton and they go for it. And the company knows this, and that's why they've jacked up the prices. Don't stay here. Please do not stay here at £175. Please go somewhere else and just spend that money on goodies in the TFNation Hall, or commissions, or buying friends drinks, or getting stuff signed, or just enjoying the event, or even saving money. But please don't stay at the Hilton Garden because you'd make me cry. We talked about the terror of travel times. This is something as well that I'm going to skip a lot of this off because I think we can cover this somewhere else. Hotel searches as well, I've talked about. Just jump on Google. Do a Google search. Use the maps function. Look per night. Build up an idea of what you can get and what price fits you. And then you can always go and ask other people. And this has been something I have been so impressed by this. So the group on Facebook is called People Going to TFNation Fan Group. Been aware of them for a while. I've actually raged at them in the past for, when some of the questions that they put up that they should have asked TFN, they never asked TFN. I kind of like, please don't do this. Don't speculate, please. And yet this time around, when I've asked them for information on hotels, everyone came through. It's been really, really nice. Jermaine, Matthew, Emma, Nick, Graham, my heart's out. Thank you so much. As well, like Matt, I know from Auto Assembly. I don't know why or how, but I know him. But Emma, I've never spoken to. And yet, straight off, she gave me loads of advice. In fact, she gave me some advice the other day about the Arden. And she said as well, it's a very quick route. She was able to use one of those shorter routes because it was open. And so it was only 5 minutes. So it's nice to know that people have gone to these places. If you are a first timer, a newcomer, or you're staying at a hotel that you've not stayed at before and you're a little bit worried, join this Facebook group. The guys here as well with me today, they are admins on this group. The group is run by good people. So just say to them, look, I'm staying at the Arden. Is anyone else staying there? Do you have any tips? Can I maybe walk over with you on the Friday or the Saturday morning? Do things that also help break the ice, get you in the mood. And also, it's great. If you know a few of the people at the hotel, then when you have breakfast, you're having your TF Nation breakfast. It's all good. Okay, jumping straight onto the other stuff. And look, we're doing all right for time, actually. So the first is we're talking about the cash situation. So from the last video and something that Nolsey put out as well, there was this discussion of the increasing use of cashless payments at big hotels, and it's happening all the time. But at the same time as well, it's this increasing thing of when you check into a hotel, they are taking a payment off you. They're taking a deposit, and this is almost like certain chains. It's like across the chain, and they're doing it as standard. But that's a problem if you're only carrying cash. So I decided to go out and speak to 2 hotels just to get a basis of what the idea of some of these people is and how they justify it, and maybe what the chain's own opinion of this is. And they came back, and it's quite telling the way that these 2 came back. The first was the Moxie. I asked once. They came back in an hour. And they said they checked the payment policy. They do accept cash, but they will require a £50 deposit to be paid by card. This deposit is refunded on the same card 7 days after checkout. So if you're planning to pay mostly in cash, do make sure you have a debit or credit card handy for the deposit. They also said if it's a concern, they would recommend giving the Moxie Birmingham directly a call to confirm or ask about alternatives. So there's room for discussion there. There's room for maybe a compromise or something else. It does mean, though, that, look, people going, you've got to be aware that this is kind of the new norm for a lot of chains. But the Moxie, just in the way they've dealt with me there, they're showing a little bit of willing, which is nice. However, the Hilton was a different story. I sent 6 mails to the Hilton, each time getting a different response and getting a runaround. And in the end, I literally had to make statements and ask them to go yes or no. And even then, they still didn't really get what I was trying to say. But the gist of it is, according to Faisal, he says that if we've just reserved the room and you pay by cash for the booking at the check-in, then the Hilton will not require a security deposit to be taken on any card. Without being rude, I don't believe them because that's happened to too many of us. So I'm going to say on this stream, my advice is all of you, if you're going to go mostly cashless, please make sure that you have some sort of debit or credit card as a backup, especially because they might still ask for a deposit. And if you have any real concerns, if there's no way that you're going to be able to bring a card and you'll work, well, even if you're not worried, I would still say maybe give the hotel that you're going to stay at a shout, an email, say, give them your booking number. You are a customer. They should value you. Tell them your situation. Be nice about it, but say, look, I might be coming just with cash. I might not have a card. Is that okay? Get that agreement before you travel so that when you turn up, even if there is a nasty surprise because some junior member of staff is on the desk and he doesn't know about the situation and he does what he does normally and tries to charge you, you will have some backup to go, no, I have this. I should be safe. Okay? And that's it. And that just leaves me with one final thing. Oh, gosh, it's all gone terribly, terribly wrong. Apologies. There we go. I hope you can all see that.
It's gone off my thing, so it ain't showing up anymore.
Okay. Well, the final thing then is just a quick talk about travel. Travel's something that in the past, I think many of us have done videos about. Mm-hmm. But one of the things that we always talk about, and this is where a lot of us, including myself, have actually gotten this wrong, is in the past we've said, look, you've got to book early. You've got to reserve your train tickets now because that's the way you get the best deals. Well, the reality is, yes, it's a good time now to look at your travel networks or flight networks or coach networks and see what advanced deals you can get. There's no point in scrimping and saving and moaning because you don't want to pay on the hotels and you manage to get a deal and you save £10 a night on a hotel, only to then waste an extra £50-60 by booking travel late. However, as I've realized by researching this, some people in some parts of the UK, it doesn't matter how early you try and reserve rail tickets, they are always expensive. Mm-hmm. And it's not a very impressive table that you're missing out on, folks, but all it was to show that if you went from Manchester or London or Bournemouth, well, if you book in advance, you get yourself a real deal. You save a lot of money. If you try and go from Hull right now on an advance ticket in August, you are paying exactly the same as you would pay on the day. Yep. I've never known a company so bad. So it's an eye-opener for me because it's made me realize that actually for some people, you can't win on travel. So you have to go by coach. That said, there are bonuses. Certain coaches will let you book 2 seats, which at a price is pretty cheap anyway. So you get that extra space. So if you're buying purchases, one of the biggest issues I've always found is it's not about getting to TFNation. It's about coming home with all the precious stuff you've bought and making sure it doesn't get trashed by a bunch of people on whatever transport you're using. So maybe if you're going to splash cash, even on a coach, get that extra seat next to you on the way back so that precious item that you buy doesn't get damaged. And I know some of the locations here, I looked at Hull, I looked at Cardiff, I looked at Edinburgh. I was absolutely stunned. It's like doesn't matter how long you book in advance, the price is still extravagant. And then I looked at coaches, and it's such a tiny fraction. And I was like, yeah, if I was in Hull, I would do exactly what you guys do. Exactly.
That's
And
exactly why we do it.
I've never thought to look at that side
Yeah.
of things before. So sorry, because I always thought you guys were odd for just like slavishly choosing the coach over everything else.
It's a lot of years of doing this and knowing, like I say, getting the best deal, and the National Express is the best deal from Hull, so that's why we do it every year.
Yeah. Well, we've just learned the hard way, because the first, obviously this is back when it was auto assembly. The very first, I think I did the first 3, 2010, 11 and 12 on the train. There's no direct route from Hull to Birmingham. You have to divert either from Sheffield or Leeds,
Doncaster.
I think, or Doncaster. It kind of depends on what service you're on.
Also, as well, it depends if you go right. We're getting on such and such train, and then there could be delays, and then the transferring train that you get in is early. And then you ask somebody, is that the right train? And they say, yes, it is. And then when you sit down, the voiceover comes over and says, oh, the next train to London, that's not our train. Do you remember that, John?
Yes.
Yeah, get off that train and run almost the entire length of the station to get the right train, which was it was literally the next platform along.
Yep. And then literally the way things are now with trains, because I do not like trust train services at the moment because of like cancellations and all this that's going on, and striking and all this kind of thing.
Yeah, there was that too.
So that's why I opted for coach. After like I've been going via the coach since like 2013, and it's like 40 quid return.
Yeah,
and you have space underneath the coach for all your main luggage, and you have space for a hold-all, like a backpack or something. And it's much more convenient. You have a relatively decent leg space, even though it's not perfect, but it's better than most things. But also you've got USB charge ports in the seats sometimes as well, so you can charge your phone up and watch YouTube or whatever. So I find it's much more convenient to use the coach, and it's a lot cheap. Yes, it's about the same duration on the train, about 4 hours, give or take.
The only ball ache we've got is because it doesn't go all the way to the NEC. We usually have to get a taxi from the coach station in Digbeth to the hotel. That's the only ball ache I don't like, but swings and roundabouts, isn't it?
But like for anybody that's considering using the National Express coach, which is what we use, National Express, and if you are somebody that is able to walk about freely, then all you need to do is just walk through the Bullring Shopping Centre, go straight to the New Street station, and get a train, and it's like 5 minutes up the track from New Street to NEC. So you can use that as an option, which is what we've done in the past. Or you can just get a black cab from outside from National Express Hub.
If you arrange it right, you can meet a bunch of friends and all get in the same taxi, and then it's a lot cheaper as well. So you can do it. There are ways around it. That's what we do. Usually meet up with Lawrence, don't we? And then so then it's split 4 ways instead of 3 ways. So there are options available. It's just a case of that last bit of getting there.
Yeah.
Can I jump on as well? I'm going to do a couple of things here because I can answer some questions as well while saying hello to chat. And I want to say, hey Sammy, Firestorm. Yes, I understand you've had challenges with, and we've all had this actually, where you've had a train like you've reserved a train seat, or in your case, I think it was a coach and a coach seat next to you, and yet you've gone there and people have just been sat there. It's frustrating as hell. It really is. It's one of those things, unfortunately, unless the train operator or the coach operator gives a damn, these people will get away with it. It's frustrating as well because, good, at least the driver told them to move. Thank God for that. But yeah, it is frustrating. I would say, I think sometimes as well, it does help if you're able to book at a time that's not peak and it's not going to be rammed. But I appreciate sometimes it's like weekend travel on trains to Birmingham. It doesn't matter which train you get; it's going to be stupid ram packed. I don't know if there's the option for premium seating on any coaches. I've seen it kind of advertised in one or two places, but I've never actually seen the results. But if you're going on the train and you can book in advance, one thing I would especially for the way home, is if you save money anyway, getting an advance ticket, then use it to get a weekend upgrade, because it'll be 20 quid. And I know you won't like doing that because nobody does, because you know it's a con by the train companies. But you go from a ram-packed, scrammed together, awful seating situation to literally 2 or 3 people in a carriage. And on the way home, it's kind of nice to have that space. But anything you can do. Also, and I was thinking this as you guys were talking, and you mentioned Lawrence as well, that whole idea of meeting up. If you're brand new and you're say you're coming, I don't know, say you're coming from Hull. Well, guys who are going from Hull as well.
From Land's End.
Why not try and find out when they're going and jump on the same transport, same time. You're not going to be on your own during the journey. Jump onto the Facebook group, the Going to TFNation group. If you're coming from, I don't know, Bournemouth or East Anglia or Scotland or Carlisle, find out if someone else is going there. Find out how they travel there, what's their best way, and maybe even find out when they're traveling. Okay, it doesn't mean that you're going to be sat on their lap the entire journey, but it is a lot easier, especially when you're traveling, if you know that somebody else is going to the same endpoint. You don't have to be fast friends, but it's nice to have someone in the same boat.
Well, that's it. You know, like I said, when you get to Digbeth bus station, you can, you know, if there's a group of you, share a taxi. Like I said, it's a lot cheaper, and you know, at least you get to the door, you know, and then that way you can sort your hotels out too as well.
Yeah. I will say as well, it's funny, isn't it, how perspective will change your view. Like an interest will change your perspective. I think that's the best way of saying it. Digbeth is the center of the arts and crafts in Birmingham.
Yes.
And there's a load of really, really cool street art. And in fact, many a time after TF Nation, I've actually spent the day after going to Digbeth to take photos of all the street art. If I'd known that, I would have arranged to meet up with you at the coach station.
Yeah.
That's all good. Oh, also as well, if you are going to a coach station near to the event, but you're not familiar with the local area, don't try and figure your way out there. Don't try and walk there and get lost. If you need, it doesn't matter. You might have traveled across half the country. If you don't know how to get the final 150 meters, ask people and get their advice. Yeah. Otherwise, you end up with like Knowlesy lost in Manchester, with all of us like fuming over where the hell he is. Where is he? And
Google Maps, not good.
Honestly, I've known a lot of people who are established attendees at TFN who, when they find out that somebody's coming in and they're nervous about the local area, they'll literally go and meet them. And they're not doing it because they want to curry favor. They're doing it because they're just nice people. So there we go. Unfortunately,
it's a bit of a nightmare to get across anyway.
Yes, it is. It's not the greatest. Unfortunately, there's a bit of a sad note. I have to say, you guys have got at least one bot in the chat. The bot is calling itself Silvermoon 1981. I think it's best for all concerned that we get that bot ejected. I don't think this bot has any reason to be here. I don't know who they are. So if you can delete them straight away, that would be lovely.
Oh no. Damn AI again, isn't it?
And also as well, Haida, Raymond, and I don't know if there's anyone else that I saw in chat, but
there's a Team Edward somewhere as well.
Yeah, Sam 005 Storm's there, Raymond's there, Sammy, and there's a guy called Transformers Fan 5000 that has a question for the chat, which I'll bring in now, so it's on the screen. Cool. It says, no rush, I'm mainly concerning about, it's talking about, actually, I'm going to get the first one up first. I got the wrong one. It says, this is my third time at the convention. I missed out on the Hilton this year so far. However, I am using this as a positive to try a different, cheaper hotel instead this time around.
Nice one.
New experience. And then he says, adds on to no rush, because I was talking to him in the chat. With walking to and back to the hotel. I think it was last year there was some security incident near the hotel. Not sure what exactly happened.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, the down for a couple of hours at least. Because I remember going, I wanted food and I was on my own and I went in and I wanted to go to the subway and they'd shut it down for a couple of hours. They didn't say what was going on. Maybe it was just routine training exercise. Don't know what was going on, quite honestly.
Was it last year that was the games, Commonwealth Games thing?
No,
Or
that was
the year before.
No, that was 2022.
Yeah,
it was the first one back because that was the first year because the hotel wasn't ready for us until the Friday, so we all had to get alternative arrangements.
Yeah, I remember now. Yeah, because I remember we all met up at the Ibis at the airport slide. Yeah. A lot of us, cause that's where we stayed for the Thursday because we couldn't get anything in the Hilton on the Thursday.
Yeah, because
so we stayed the Thursday night and travelled through on the Friday.
Yeah, because it was still full from a lot of the athletes and stuff and security people and all that, and then we still had the security stations all set up because when we finally got to the hotel, they were still all set up, so they were just taking it all down.
Okay. So in response to that, I would say, firstly, glad you're coming. Glad you've not been put off by the fact that you're not getting in at Hilton. That's not a problem. Hopefully, at least to this, you've seen there's a couple of hotels nearby that are decently priced. And I would say, for instance, the Arden. The Arden is a nice quick walk around the lake. It's probably the most obvious of walks as well. I mean, you're literally the other side of Resort World. So when you go out for a meal with everyone else on the Friday or the Saturday or the Sunday night, it takes you less time to walk back to your hotel room than it does the people at the convention. Think about it. I mean, in terms of location, it's pretty good. Also, again, nothing has been announced, and I genuinely do not, excuse the language, but I do not know shit about what people are planning. But if you've got a guest that's sponsored by a cinema, I can't help but feel that maybe that will come into play at some point. And again, that's Resort World.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you need a hotel nearby, the Arden is great. And yeah, if you're staying there as well, jump on that going to TFNation Facebook. You might, again, if you've been there a couple of years, you might have a big network of people that you chat to and you socialize with. But if you don't, or even if you just want to top up, meet new people, a great excuse, then absolutely use that hotel change as a way to reach out to a bunch of new people and say hi. I mean, my goodness, I don't know if you've spoken to these guys before, but I guarantee you, if you go up to them and go, "Hey, I was one of the people on your live streams. I was one of the people that asked you a question," these guys will be chuffed to say hi and sit down and have a pint. And that's the sort of thing as well. Because once you sit with these two people know everybody. So you'll get everyone rocking up. It'll just be, it's great. I would say as well, you made a comment. I think you said something as well about on a train when there's nowhere to sit. The lovely thing about some of these trains is, again, if you can book in advance, you get the seat. So you get to choose a seat, and if you know the direction of a train, you can normally find or predict where the quietest space will be, i.e. furthest away from like the entrance to the platform. So you can always do that. But another thing is as well is that whole deal of on the way home. On the way there, it doesn't really matter. Just find yourself a seat, reserve it. Hopefully you'll get some space. Get to TFN. That's all that matters. On the way home, when you're knackered, you're exhausted, and you've got stuff with you, that's when, if there's a first class upgrade, and let's face it, you're probably going to be going home on the Sunday, so it's going to be a weekend upgrade. At most, it's going to be 25 quid. I know that's a lot, but you've had a big weekend. You don't want to end it on a down note, stood there, tired, pissed off, and all your stuff that you bought is getting smushed. So maybe go for that upgrade. Again, I don't know where you're coming from, mate, but hopefully you can pull something out of everything we said on these two recordings, and it helps you in some small manner. But if not, please reach out to these guys, reach out to TF Nation Group, everyone wants to help. So
one thing I will recommend about travel as well is, I know it sounds daft, but get to your bus station or your train station at least an hour before you go, because that way, if there's any traffic delays or anything like that, you can get there and you can sit, and then you can maybe go for a coffee or something like that while you wait for your train.
Yeah.
I'm very much like that, John. As soon as TFN's over with, we're down to the thing at least an hour, because then I'd rather sit an hour next to where the train or bus is going to be rather than just get there on time. It's because it could leave early, all kinds of different factors, and then
it's never a good thing, because the problem is, the National Express, they actually do say to you to actually turn up relatively earlier before. Because they have a tendency, depending on the driver, of course, they have a tendency of sometimes turning up early, and then if everyone's on the bus already, they'll just leave before it's due to leave. So
we normally get there, don't we? And then we get at the bus station, go for a coffee, go for a sandwich, and wait, and just wait there. I'm usually where the little cafe is where the whole train is, so we can see it pull up. And as soon as it pulls up, what do? Straight to it.
Transformers fans just come back saying thanks for the advice. I appreciate it. We'll for sure take it on board. Also, Soundwave SG-1, actually one of the first people I bumped into in 2023.
So you peaked. Your weekend peaked almost instantly, and then it was downhill from there.
That's it.
And then Transformers fan 5000 met me, and it went downhill.
No. You'll notice he's never mentioned you, so he's probably avoided you.
I'm just not. It's fine. That's fine. I'll just turn the camera off and leave.
I'm not. I said this on the last stream, but I'm not tooting me on horn or anything. But people come up to me and say, "Thanks for your advice," and for all the videos that I do, about money and all that sort of stuff. And it's because I've made those mistakes. If I've made those mistakes, I know how to deal with them. And then a lot of people have come up to me and I saw your videos, and I didn't expect things like that, because you don't. It's one of those things that you just go and you think, well, I'll go in the dealer's room, spend all your money, and realize, I've got no money for the rest of the weekend now. It's that sort of thing. It does happen, but I'm like, really? You've watched my videos? That's fantastic. I'm glad at least one person has took some advice that I give out and gone, do you know what? I'll use that.
There's two other things actually regarding trains, and this is from personal experience recently. So the first thing is that I use Trainline, and I've only started using this recently. I used to go direct through the individual companies, but I was having such a ball ache with some of the companies that I went through Trainline. However, they do this thing called split tickets, which means that you can basically be hopping around multiple trains on one ticket, and if one part of that is delayed, then suddenly everything goes up in the air. If you can, and this is the luxury as well, but if you can get your whole journey on one ticket, one coach, one train, even if you're paying more, at least it's all on one coach, one train. You get yourself settled, sorted. You have all your stuff around you. Even if it's a bit cramped, get that seat, get any seat. And then you've got that one. You just have to get through the journey rather than jumping around and doing different things. My other advice, and this is more for the Friday night, and I'm starting to realize this after my Trainline adventure. So long story short, I went and met some people at Warhammer World for a meetup with Gruffy and some of the old Oil House people. But on the way back, not only did my train get, part of it got cancelled and it was all over the place, but because it was so late at night, the options suddenly dwindled to almost zero. And I was left running across a mining town that I have never been in before for 25 minutes to manually change train lines to get home to London. Jeez. If you're going on the Friday night, there is that urge, that desire to get there. You've done your working week, you want to get there. And we all feel it. We all want to get there. But maybe don't try and travel too late if you know as well your journey could be complicated. Because if you end up stuck somewhere on the Thursday night or the Friday night and you're running out of options and something's been cancelled and you're trying to get connections and it's super late, by the time you get to the Hilton, you're going to feel rotten anyway. Try and go early if you can the next day. So at least hopefully it'll be a little bit easier on you. And if there are problems, you've got time then to chat to staff. And that's the other thing as well. If stuff goes sideways with your travel, use every bit of charm you have on their stuff. You are pissed, yes, but they've had 300 people have a go at them on that day. Use every bit of charm to try and worm your way into a better seat, a better train, a better situation. You can do it. It's just like the Hilton as well. When you have a problem with the Hilton or any hotel that you're staying at, don't go down and complain. Go down there and charm the pants off them. You need to be their best friend. You will get out of awful situations, whether you've caused them yourself or whether they are pure bad luck. But you'll get through that just by being a smooth motherfucker.
Sammy says it right, yeah. When being early, when it comes to travel, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. You just as well, you see people turn up late all the time. And also, although a lot of these things like the buses, the trains at London stations, it's horrific. The fact is, you could be there an hour early and there could still be a whole bunch of dicks that get on the train ahead of you and grab your seats. We understand that. However, if you're late for a train or coach, you've increased the chances of losing your seat by tenfold. So yeah, get there early.
Yeah, it's always a good idea to be early for anything that you need to be there urgently for, to be honest, especially even a job interview, for instance, which is a funny thing to bring up in a social chat. But it's the same thing with everyday life. Yeah. It's always good to, be early for certain things, especially
get into the habit. I mean, I know TFNation is actually a great example, John, because if you can do it for TFNation, which is a fun thing, there's no fear of, oh God, I'll be 5 minutes late. I mean, you don't want to miss your train and pay for another, but it's not like the fear that you have when going for a job interview or something important. But if you can get that mindset right and be prepared and do TFNation, then it's one of those things that gets you in the habit for other things. So treat it like the valuable holiday that it is.
Yeah. I mean, I will say from like personal experience, because obviously we've all been that person that has never been to a specific event before or never been to a convention before. Like 2010 was my very first ever time traveling to somewhere outside of Hull and also to a convention. I'd never done it before. I was a much more reclusive back then. I was very much in my own little bubble. I was in my own little bubble back then.
Good hair as well, John.
I had hair as well. And then I met Tony and it all gone. But no, I've been there. I've been in that position where, where that anxiety starts to bring, when it gets closer and you get that pre-anxiety starts to bubble up. You're excited, but also anxious for the whole travel and the whole thing. And obviously I was traveling up with Sam, which was a Firestone Sam, and it was our both the very first convention back in 2010, and obviously we went up via the train, and luckily it was okay going, and then obviously we found where we needed to be, thankfully, because literally we were just like, we were going off of like I can't remember how we found out. I don't know if some people were just giving me suggestions, because obviously YouTube was a lot more like it was a lot easier to talk to people on YouTube back then. So I must have found out whereabouts I needed to be, but we found it all relatively fine. But I will say, I know what it feels when it comes to that unknowing of what to expect. And that fills me sometimes with a bit of dread, which I suppose that would be for anybody.
One good thing. Oh, sorry, John. Go on, carry on.
No, it's all right. I'm just saying, like, when it comes to things like knowing what to do a bit of research beforehand is a good thing, especially if it's your very first time going. Like I said, there's plenty of resource on YouTube from either myself or Tony or other people talking about it. But also, I would get in contact with TFNation themselves through the direct website or social media, which is, if you have a dying question, that is also good to put your mind at rest. But back then, I never did that, because obviously I was relatively quite new, and I was only about a couple of years into making YouTube videos back then.
Plus, social media wasn't really a thing yet either, was it?
Yeah, Facebook I don't think really had launched back then.
It was out, but not many people were on it yet.
Yes, certain resources were limited back then when I first started out. And it was, but I will say just a quick thing what Sam's talking about when it comes to trains and that, because he just brought something up. I remember this is one part of the reason why I stopped using train to get to TFNation, is when he talks about reserving seats, and we've reserved seats on trains before and found people sat in them. When asking them to move, then we get abuse, and then we're having to then stand in the gangway bit for about 2 or 3 hours with our
Yeah.
luggage until we get to our next stop.
This-
And then we've had that some
I
negative,
think it's happened to us
horrible.
all at least once or
Yeah,
twice because
Yeah.
I mean,
that's one
sometimes
reason.
sometimes the train company overbooks things, so they will
Yeah.
assign that seat to 2 people. You know, I've had that happen before as well, which is not exactly the best of options. You know, and then of course the train's full, but you've got a ticket that says, S7 or something like that, and somebody else got the same ticket, same seat. So then what do you do? You know, it's the kind of thing.
Yeah, that's one thing. That's why I opted to do the coach, because even though it is a bit of an upheaval sat on a coach for a prolonged amount of time, it's not nice. But I find that I'd rather pay. I don't know, I'm a cheap twat. I'm Yorkshireman, so I would much rather go with a cheaper option. But apart from that, it's a lot more easier. It's it's just much more simplistic, and I've never had a problem with the National Express. Touch wood, never had a problem. So
Also, as well,
Yeah.
it's not just a little cheaper as well for you guys. It's astronomically cheaper.
Yeah.
And that's something I realized as well. It's like for some people and around the country as well, it's like that. It's given me maybe an extra insight into the difficulties that some people face in coming to an event like TFNation.
Yeah.
And it means that unfortunately travel is going to be arguably the main cost of your weekend. You know, forget the actual hotels. You're not worried about that. You're just worried about paying for a train ticket or a coach ticket. I kind of understand that more. I think it's the case of leave yourself as much time as possible for the travel. And also, and I hope you're okay with me saying this, but Nolsey is a great example as well of a guy that has done the convention thing for a long time. There's been a lot of issues and stuff on the way. And then the one time you take something for granted, which was Manchester Victoria, the one time, and it's not your fault, but it's because, and it was like, in the end, it was like a 10-minute walk, but it was because it was an area that you weren't sure of.
And I was just going around in circles.
And you were going around in circles. And the thing is, as well, that's happened to it. Like Jermaine has spoken to me and a few others before.
I was on the phone with Jermaine.
Exactly. Going all the way around the NEC campus. The nice thing, and this is the thing I thought about actually. I think last year I saw this. People were using as well, like the Facebook group. They're saying if they're on the way to the event and they're having a bit of a difficult time, they'll post something on there. They'll go, "Oh, it's a bit of a shit journey," and you'll get people from the convention just encouraging them, keep going.
Yeah.
Or even if you make it, and I'd say this to everyone. I think Nolsey, you'd certainly agree with me. If you get to a station nearby, we get to the town, but you suddenly go, "Shit, I can't find where I am," and you've got all your stuff with you, and it's late at night. Just pop a message onto those boards and go, "Look, I'm here. Where do I go? I'm lost. I'm sorry to do this, but I'm a little confused." People will bend over backwards to help you. Okay?
Somebody might pick you up as well.
Or I guarantee you there'll be people going through that probably that part, especially in Birmingham. People are going to be going through it right then and there. And they'll be, "Where the hell are you? Let's go over together." Okay. Honestly, so much. Trust me, and this is talking back to my time as a TFNation member of staff, we have gone to stations to meet guests because they don't want to walk the 300 meters on their own. Okay. And these are not small guests. These are people that would be quite intimidating if you saw them, but they want that comfort of having a few people with them.
I've met guests and walked them back to the hotel as well.
There you go. See, so it's all good.
I just happened to be there, and I said, "I'm going back that way. Follow me." So it was just. But another good thing, resource to use, and it's going to sound very silly, but use Google Street View if you're not quite sure of an area, or if you're not quite sure of what the hotel looks like from a top-down. So a top-down view is very different to a street level view.
Yeah.
So you can actually see what the building looks like from a street level, and you can see, right, if I turn this way, that way, at least, because that's the very first time I went to the auto assembly at the time, 2009. Thing, I was looking at a top-down view, and I think that's not an hotel.
Yeah.
And then when you look at the street view, yes, the signs, there they are. So that's what you're looking for, you see, because then when you can see the same thing on the screen that you're looking at, you go, I'm here, that's the place I need to be. I mean, it's not always perfect, I will grant you that, because not every street is mapped on thingy, but you can get at least an idea of where you are. And another thing as well is, go back to train or any journey you've got, take a of your ticket, the QR code.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, trying to go into your thing and email and trying to find your thing, it's a lot easier just to go photos, there it is. Yep. You're done. And it's little simple things that, not necessarily people might think of, but it's an easy thing to, well, there it is right there. And if you do need to go into your email, you can still do that for any other information you might need. But 9 times out of 10, I've got a QR scanner, you go, there's my phone or my tablet, scan, that's it, done. You're on the bus or the train. Easy.
You don't have to have that awkward moment where your signal's not picking up. And let's face it, all that happens in those situations is you get stressed, and needlessly so.
Yeah, because you're stressed, you can't find it, and the more you can't find it, the more stressed you are.
Yeah. The thing with me as well with Manchester when I got lost that time, it's because I did mention this at the time, but it's because it was Manchester Victoria Station, and I'm not familiar with that point of area. Yep. I'm more familiar with Piccadilly, because for some reason at that point in time there was no train from Hull going to Piccadilly. So they diverted to Victoria, and I'm getting out of Victoria in this much more built up business area. And I'm like, where the hell am I? And
it's honestly, it's such a ball ache as well. It's one of those things that if you're a Manchester resident, you would know that Manchester, Victoria, and Manchester Piccadilly, they're close by. They're really close by. But sometimes the travel's a bit odd because trains can go like the metro can go one way but not another. And if you get out of Victoria, it's a very because of the layout of the buildings, it's really you just don't see anything recognizable as being Manchester. And if you get out, and you guys will know this, if you get out of Digbeth in Birmingham, it's a very different world to the NEC campus. So you're walking around going, where the hell am I meant to be? And unfortunately, if you're going the wrong area in Digbeth, yes, there can be some issues. So again, reach out to people, keep people informed, etc. Whilst we're here, chaps, I thought I might breach something that we've spoken about. Well, you guys have mentioned before as well, but we talk about saving money on hotels because that's the name of the game, and saving money on travel. Mm-hmm. But one of the things that you can do then once you have that is that you can get a few goodies for the room. People get food and stuff. And Tony, will you be doing kind of one of your videos where you...
I will, yeah. Probably be within the next week or so, I think.
Cool. So, folks, if you're listening at home or you see this even later on, please make sure that you're subscribed to both of these gentlemen. Make sure you follow them because they'll be doing videos. And Tony's survival guides for TFNation have helped an awful lot of people.
Oh, they have, yeah. And I've had people come up to me for years and say, firstly, a lot of them say, I didn't know about TFNation until I saw your video. Secondly,
I was one of those people.
Yeah, you was, yeah. And secondly, I've had a lot of people come up to me and go, that advice you gave, it's the best thing ever, because, I mean, I'll go in more in depth when I do the video, but just for quick, easy here. Having a little bit of food in your room can be the best thing ever, because going around the convention, you're doing panels, you're going in the dealer's room, you're meeting your guests, and you're rushing around talking to people, can get very tiring. And, suddenly you feel like you're hungry. So if you've bought some stuff, say you've been in the dealer room, spent £100, you bought a lot of stuff, you got back to the room, back to your hotel, whichever one you're nearby, it's nice to just sit down for 10 minutes and go, do you know what, take my shoes off, and your socks off, and just chill out for 10 minutes. nibble some biscuits, have an apple, drink of water. I usually take a couple of them big bottles of water because Birmingham water out the tap isn't great, I'll be honest. A couple of big bottles of water, a couple of glugs of that. You find you can go back to the
No,
convention.
I'll second that notion. Sorry to interrupt, but
No,
I'll second that notion with water because it can get very stiflingly warm in those hotels, especially the Hilton, especially if something packs up and the bloody aircon doesn't work, which that has happened a few times at the Hilton. It is always good to keep hydrated. Yes, if you like to partake in alcohol, if you're one of those people that are inclined to drink alcohol, that's fine, but try to, I know, Mr. Stella down there. But I would say take breaks and just, like if you need to take 5 minutes, just sit to one side and get some water down here because you could really quite. There has been cases of people fainting at TFNation, and I've heard of like first aid needed to be called to people.
See, this is the one thing that TFNation doesn't do, and I'm not saying that they have to, but like the registration table, you can buy the TFNation merch.
Yeah,
it'd be a good idea if they had bottles of water to buy, because that room can get very warm in there. And like John said, medics have been called out. Yeah,
it's like Dante's Inferno.
Yeah, especially in 2022 when it was like 1,000 degrees in there. It would be a good idea if, because Kapow Toys had bottles of water to buy. They're only £1, and it was just like, £1, great, glug, 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 But but like I say, it's good to take big. I usually take the big bottles, get a couple of big bottles. Usually last me the weekend, and or you can take little bottles, whichever tickles your fancy. But yeah, plenty of water. You can't go wrong with water. And But like I say, be careful. And if you're feeling a bit overwhelmed, you can go outside. If you go out the door, literally a couple more steps, you're outside. So,
cool. I just Nosy, would you mind sticking up the comment from Transformer Fan 5000, because he was talking a very interesting thing that a lot of people. It's like this worry about booking somewhere. Like he's thinking about the Crown Plaza, but also he's holding out for the Hilton. Sorry, I'm saying he. I don't know if it's he or she. Apologies there. But this is something that is a problem, because you all still want the Hilton, and it's understandable, and there might be the chance for you to get it. However, you also want to make sure that you've nailed down your hotel nice and early. So here's what I suggest. If the Crown Plaza is cheap at the moment, it means it means going via their website directly, even if it means paying a little bit more for the privilege, you might be able to reserve a room without a cancellation cost, especially if it's, like more than 2 weeks before the booking date. If you can do that, do it. Reserve those rooms. Get yourself sorted. Get yourself somewhere. Get yourself somewhere as well, and you still keep your options open to snap up the Hilton if it comes up. But if it doesn't come up, you've got your backup. Now, I know technically that kind of hurts other people, because that means that you might have reserved a room that other people can't get. But at the moment, there are lots of hotel rooms to go around. So I would say reserve something now. There's nothing worse than you holding out, nothing turning up, and then you still have to get something else anyway. And it's either more expensive or you have to jump between different hotels.
Yeah. I've had to jump from hotels before. It is a bit of a, pardon the language, but a balls ache.
Yeah.
Because I can't remember what was it 2012, the year of the Commonwealth Games, I think. And
2022.
2012. Yeah, sorry, I got my decades wrong.
That's impressive. That's really impressive.
Yeah. 2012 was the Olympic Games in London, but
fair and get them mixed up. It was some kind of games both the time.
Yeah, 2022. Anyway. But anyway, go on, John.
Yeah, 2022 was the Commonwealth Games in Birmingham, and I remember, like I just spoke about this not long ago, but basically there was no room whatsoever to book at the Hilton for the Fairs Day that year, and we had to book at the Ibis, which is the airport side, which we have spoken about in the streams. And even though it's a bit of a far out, because you've got through the NEC to mess around, and you got to do that the shuttle train thing, the monorail thing. You got to do that in order to get to it and all that kind of thing. But yeah, so it was a bit of a balls ache to get there and back. But we had it was for one day only, so I thought, okay, that's fine. But then we had to mess around on the Friday morning with all of our luggage and everything,
Oh,
put
getting
it through the
inside the hotel room.
NEC, and then move from the Ibis airport side to the Hilton, and it was just inconvenient more than anything. But that's why I've always said to try and keep it as local as possible to within the area of the Hilton, whether
Well,
it's
that's why
the
I always.
somewhere
That's
else.
why one of the reasons I go on a Thursdays is because a lot of the time, because there's no convention yet, it's not started yet. You can sort anything out. If there's anything's going wrong, you can sort it. Got plenty of time to sort it. You can do all your traveling, and then you can have once your room's sorted, go and have a rest, come and join us in the bar, or just chill out till Friday morning.
Yeah.
And yes, it's an extra night in a hotel, but I see it as, I'm there, I'm done. That's it, done. Anything that could go wrong is done, and it's not going to impact on the convention itself. I mean, okay, you might not be able to get the time off work, or whatever reason you can't make it on a Thursday. But if you can make it Thursday, I recommend it.
Yeah, it is. There's a couple of things. One, you get a chance to decompress. I think that's what you were going for. Also, as well, rooms at the NEC especially are so much cheaper on the Thursday. And yeah, even if you do have to, like Melzy did, stay somewhere else and you're moving across, it is a ball ache, but it's less of a ball ache than going on a packed Friday all the way from Hull all the way in.
Yes.
Also, as well, I mean, my experience, one year I was at one of the hotels that I mentioned last time that is near to the NEC, but is only near in terms of location. It's not near in terms of travel. And I spent 40 minutes on the Sunday morning walking in. On the Friday, 40 minutes walking to get to the Hilton. And it was raining, and I was on a motorway, and I was walking on the hard shoulder, and I was like, this is the most rotten thing ever. And I was there for a night, and I hated every second of it because it was it was like I had to wait half an hour to get a shuttle bus that only then took me into the airport. So I still had to do the rest of the route. It's like I genuinely felt I missed out. And because I was volunteering at the time, that had an impact. Another time, and ironically, 2012, I couldn't get a room at the Holiday Inn where Autobus Envy used to be. And one night I spent in some sort of really weird, almost like I think they call them cube hotels, and they had one of these in Birmingham back in the day, and it was literally like a small toilet and a bed and just a big TV, but it was like the room was the size of the bed. It was that small. And I just remember thinking, all this because I left it late to book. Why didn't I just pick somewhere a little further out? And after that, I never spent another event when it was at the Holiday Inn. I never spent another event either at the Holiday Inn or at any other hotel. I actually booked an apartment, which was just the same price as any hotel room, except it came with a kitchen. So I would go home and cook all my own food. Find ways as well to make the experience easier, cheaper. The hotel reservation thing, it's possible. Not all hotels will allow you to book without any form of deposit, and it might cost you. But if it's a way to make your life easier, do it. And then when you save money and you get all these little savings with hotel and with travel, then these guys will give you some advice down the line on how to spend that on other things to make your stay more comfortable.
Transformers fans replied to that, what your thing saying, I will look into the reservations, no cancellation fee. Thanks for that, as I wasn't aware.
And I honestly, I barely ever thought about it. I barely until things went wrong for me. And that's the beauty as well. None of us give this advice because we're really good at this stuff. We give advice because we're really shit, and we've had to figure out how to get ourselves out of those sort of situations.
Oh, yes. Yeah. So we make the mistake so you don't have to, is what you're saying.
Yes. Well, like I said...
it's not never going to be 100%.
Life, isn't it?
It's always going to be your experience will differ. Your mileage may vary. I mean, we can only go on what's happened to us, but we're trying to umbrella everything under one thing. But like I say, you might have a completely unique experience, unique problem that we haven't encountered before. But like I say, it's always helpful to go on the people going to TFNation forum and going, I've got this problem. Has anybody else experienced it? So chances are somebody else will have done. So again, having all these avenues of information is always good. And as I say, information is ammunition.
And there'll be new challenges this year. We downplayed because there was the danger of people making more of it than it probably will be. But there will be other people at the Hilton. There'll be other conventions in the local area. So you just need to be mindful. There'll probably be a different situation than to when you had the dancers, or when you had the faith-based people, or when you had the quilters, or when you had the gynecologists, or when you had the armed police. Every year is a different thing. So
and this year is going to be quite interesting.
Yes, it is. Yes, because you won't be wearing your Hellraiser t-shirt, and you'll be being really well behaved, John.
But, that was completely by accident. I didn't realize what t-shirt I put on that morning, and then I realized.
I've got me John Carpenter's The Thing t-shirt, so that'll go down.
But yeah, no, I love it as well. Sorry, TF fans jumped on to say, yeah, they might use the money that they saved towards a taxi.
Exactly, yeah,
brilliant. Well, brilliant, because you don't have to do that. That's a luxury, but it's a luxury that you've clawed back from something else.
But also, if somebody else is at that same hotel, 2 people in taxis, even cheaper. Yeah.
Sam's just
we're putting the feelers out and going, is anybody else staying in this hotel? And if they are, boom, sorted. Like Adam said earlier on about, having breakfast in the morning, then sharing the cab back to the main hotel. It's all good, and that's how you make friends. You see.
Yeah. Sam's just come through confirming, wear the Hellraiser t-shirt. I will never forget that lift incident. It was quite a funny story. I've mentioned it before, but basically I didn't realise, honestly, being truthful, I just literally got a clean t-shirt out my suitcase, put it on, and I went to go down for breakfast that morning. And I get into the lift, and then there's this family, boy, girl, mum and dad in the lift, and I was like, morning. I'll get into the lift, and then there's like very uncomfortable kind of looking at each other, and then I look down, and I'm like, oh, and it's my Hellraiser t-shirt saying, "God is busy, can I help you?" And I was like, oh, this is interesting. And I just kind of just smiling. And it was the most excruciating, I felt like 20 minutes lift journey. But I got out and I was just laughing to myself. And then I went and told Sam. And then I went and told Sam, and everyone found out from that point on.
I don't worry, I'm wearing a different horror t-shirt every day on there. So,
I mean, all I would say is if you can be the group that just doesn't provoke any sort of issues.
Yeah.
And again, I don't think you would, but I've never heard of anyone at TFNation doing that anyway. But just be mindful. And you know what? Sometimes it doesn't matter that we are carting around plastic toys. The fact is that sometimes TFNation, especially in regards to other people that might be at the hotel, we are the mature ones. We are the sensible ones. And sometimes you have to lead by example.
Well, that's what I mean. I mean, I've heard of no incident that involves any TFNers that have caused anything. I've heard horror stories about the dancers. I've heard horror stories about the Faith Connors as well. It's more or less they're saying something to you, and then people have reacted to that. And it's like, well, that's fine. You enjoy your thing. I'm enjoying my thing. Let's leave it there, shall we? That's what you should have in mind. If somebody does start giving you shit about, what you buy, how you live in your life, just saying, well, you enjoy your thing. I'll enjoy my thing. But to be fair, the Faith Connors generally keep to themselves. They don't venture into the bar at all. So you should be fine, I would think.
Yeah. Cool.
Monkey Not Truck has just come in saying that this year's TFN will be his first since 2018. and will be staying at the Hilton. I stayed at different hotels 2019, 22, and 24, and the experiences have been varied to say the least.
Yeah. And the thing is, as well, the sad thing is the people's Hilton experiences vary as well. As yes, but you know what? The nice thing is, and this actually, I think these are great examples as well for people to share information. Mucky, if you can, after you've gone to the Hilton, see what it's like because they've had a refit, they have changed some things for better or worse, but once TFNation is over, remember that experience. And if you can then provide that information to other people in the build up to the following year, that would be gold dust to them, especially since you're coming in with fresh eyes. So you're going to see stuff and go, oh, that's actually better than it used to be. Whereas people that go every year and have gone for the last couple of years maybe don't even notice those changes. But, good for you. You got yourself a Hilton room. There will be people who are desperately jealous of you. So
I managed to get one as well. So, not to toot me on horn or anything. Yeah, it's expensive, but, I've been doing this a long time. I know exactly when to get the hotel room. I'm not going to tell you how. There is a way, but, keep it to
yourself. Next year, you'll be selling, like, paid promotional, like, guides to getting in.
Well, yeah. I mean, this is the thing. Like I said, I've been doing this for a lot of years. I know all the little tricks and little techniques and things to do, and and especially when it comes to the dealer's room, I'm not going to give my secrets away here, but I have several secrets I can exploit, shall we say.
I think as well, Tony, it's fair to say in regard to Firestorm's comment about the queue to the bar, I believe your next chat will maybe talk about alternatives to that bar.
I'll do that on my own channel. But basically, there are alternatives, and if you know what to do, it's not an issue.
Yeah,
and if you are not throwing stuff in the Hilton's face, I think that's the most important thing.
Yes.
There's a difference between being a little bit cheeky but not making it blatantly obvious.
Yeah, exactly.
And it shouldn't be obvious as well with that many people in a bar anyway.
Yeah.
But as long as you're not taking the mic. When you take the mic, that's when the staff get involved. Yeah. And if you start answering back to the staff, you'll have a lot of TFNation staff.
I mean,
very pissed
it
off
has happened in the past. I mean, what's the one in Birmingham City Centre where Auto Assembly used to be?
That was just a disaster. Yeah, the Holiday Inn.
Holiday Inn, yeah. There were people in the bar because there was an off license literally across the road, and people would come into the bar and just go in the bar.
Yeah.
And that's taking the piss. There are discreet ways of doing that, not even under the table, because where you're going to. There are other ways. I'll explain later properly.
Yeah.
But basically, like what Adam said, don't take the piss. Like I said, you can be cheeky, and if you know what you're doing, you can get away with it. But also, when I say it like that, I don't mean it in I'm not paying those prices, which is kind of what I'm saying as well. But you've got to be respectful at the same time, So I'll explain better on my own.
Also, as well, let's face it, if the queue gets ridiculously long, you don't want to spend you have an evening, you have a Friday evening, a Saturday evening. You don't want to be spending half an hour of that at probably the most a really peak time, not chatting to the people that you want to chat to, but stood in a queue for a bar to get one drink.
Yeah.
And then you wonder, well, I kind of want to get another one, but what do I do? So again, it's manage the situation. And look, we're all grown-ups here. We know what we're talking about. But again, just find a way to do it that's just a bit intelligent. And again, funny thing is, I keep wanting to say this, but I don't want to end up with you guys getting swamped. But you'll see these guys at the event. When you're at the event, if you're worried about the protocol of certain things, ask them. They'll do it. I mean, they'll do it. Obviously, Tony will demand a Stella from you in return, but they'll do it. They'll give you that advice.
Yeah.
So, that's a nice little Stella bottle you have there.
And me, I a bit of a backhander. That'll be fine.
Sorry.
Sorry, what?
Sorry, what?
I said if
John,
for me, something like a bit of a backhander for my services.
What convention we're going to?
For my information, I require monies.
No, I believe
I'm
it's
joking now.
Strongbow Dark Fruit or Kupperberg or whatever it is that you drink.
Anything that's alcohols except for wine.
I can't have wine because bad things happen when I have wine, so I'm not allowed it.
Also, though, again, like this used to be the case with food, but because you've got Resort World just over the way now, people go over there. But also, people are getting like just takeaway delivered to the back of the Hilton. Again, as long as they're not marching through reception, it's not too bad. But again, be respectful because
just best thing to do is because when you order McDonald's, for example, off Just Eat, you can have instructions say like leave on your doorstep or whatever. You can say meet me outside. You can go outside and pick it up rather than having the delivery guy come in. There's ways around it like that.
Can I just say at this point, I've never used a food delivery firm.
Have you not? Right.
No, I know it's not that I'm old-fashioned. I've just never seen the point. But the idea of me getting a McDonald's, especially a McDonald's breakfast at the Hilton,
yeah,
oh
yeah,
it's so good.
It is, yeah. But I mean, like I said, the Resort World literally around the lake there. As soon as you walk outside, you can't miss it. It's a huge building. Plus, there's a subway inside. There's several subways inside the NEC itself. From the same side as the Hilton, you walk in. Literally, you walk up the little ramp there. There's a subway there. There's one a bit further down as well, where the train station part is as well. So there are options.
And as well, I mean, because I think the beer event is on at least on the Saturday. I don't know if it's on the Sunday, but if it's on the Saturday, you can guaranteed all those food places are going to be open.
Yeah.
So you're actually going to have a nice amount of stuff to play with. And for those of you as well walking a little further, there are other shops like further down. They're not open very often.
There's a up there. There's a bunch of spoons as well. So if you want to. Again, if your hotel doesn't have a breakfast option, there's a spoons, and spoons are fairly cheap.
Okay, yeah. So actually, Mikey's just come in with this. This is really good. So spoons is good. So let's talk about because he's talking about what's good in Resort World. But we'll start off by talking about the NEC. So spoons in the main NEC is good. It's not open that often. It has very odd opening hours, but it is the spoons. It's good.
When the beer festival is on, it might be open for longer hours as well.
Now, the big thing about Resort World is that, funny enough, we talked about in the last stream, but when the hotel at Resort World first opened, and it was ridiculously expensive. And when the restaurants first opened, they were ridiculously expensive. And they were also chronically understaffed. Yes. And the problem is that because Resort World is very much based on what's going on at the NEC, admittedly, it's become more of its own. People go to Resort World now who are not based on the NEC. But it's still, sometimes if there's a swarm of people, restaurants can get very quickly overrun. They might have free tables, but they won't have the staff free. You'll be waiting an hour for food. So you have to be careful about where you go. Fortunately, in the time since it's been open, they have started to open up some places that are a little bit more practical. And the two I would mention, there is a Costa, which I know sounds weird for me to mention it, but it's cheap. The Hilton Coffee Bar is the most overpriced thing at the Hilton. It's not run by the Hilton itself. It's an outside license, but it's very much a victim of the kind of airport pricing that you have at these hotels. It's not their fault. It's not the staff's fault. Nobody serving you coffee is earning a fortune, but they are charging you it. So if you want a coffee, go to the Costa. I think it's a Costa or a Pret. I think it's Costa. Go to the Costa at the Resort World. You'll get a half decent coffee, probably better than the coffee shop, and certainly cheaper. In terms of other stuff, you've got Five Guys there. Again, I know it's not super, super cheap, but you know what you're getting with the Five Guys. It's not ridiculously overpriced. You get what you pay for. You get a lot of food. It is a bit more expensive, but it's one of those reliable things that you go in. It's like, I just want a burger. And to be honest, when I was doing volunteering at TFN last, on the Sunday night, due to various circumstances, I was literally lost. I was with no one. I was doing nothing. I had no idea. I was literally just kind of abandoned. And I was like, well, I just need something. And I walked in. I actually found another member of staff in the Five Guys, and we both had the same idea. Let's go somewhere that we just trust. that's simple, that's basic, and just grab a cheeseburger. There's nothing wrong with that.
No.
Other good places, I believe there's a lot of people go to the pizza place.
Yeah.
Pizza
Express.
Is it Pizza Express?
Yeah.
So again, there's no frills, but you'll find a lot of people a lot of TF fans will kind of have tables there and do that.
Is TGR still there?
I
Because
don't
know
think
those-
it is. No,
But like what Adam said, be on the overwhelmed side, because we went there last year and there was only 4 of us and they couldn't accommodate, even though it was an empty restaurant almost.
because they just didn't have the staff.
No. So there's that. We've done Las Iguanas, which was like a Mexican barbecue type place. Really good, actually.
There was a Vietnamese one, I think, was it?
Vietnamese went last year. Yeah, that was really good as well. It's. I'll be honest, if you're not into sort of Chinese food sort of area, that's probably not a place to go. I wouldn't recommend. But I enjoyed it. It was really nice and not too expensive either, I thought.
Tell you what, guys.
What's that?
Ready for this?
Go on.
You've got a Costa, a Five Guys, a gourmet burger kitchen, a Karage, which is Japanese, Los Iguanas, which is South African, a steakhouse, a Nando's, a Pizza Express. You do have a TGI Fridays, which is weird because I thought they'd gone bust, but that's
why I asked that. So close.
A Vietnamese, 2 Vietnamese, and a ZZ, which is like a slightly upmarket Italian, but it's still an Italian. Oh, and you've got a thing called the World Bar as well, which I think is like a general thing. You can also, and this is important, you can also get gift vouchers for Resort World. Okay. If your family are like mine, and it doesn't matter how many times you ask them to buy you stuff that fulfills your nerdy interests, and they just never get round to doing it, and it's really annoying, but they don't want to buy you that stuff. Fine. Then maybe say, could you buy me some Resort World vouchers? Because then it helps cover the cost of your food. I don't think I didn't even realize that until I saw it on the advert.
That is a great idea.
Also, as well, have a look as well. Resort World has a big, brilliant website. It has everything listed, everything from the cinema, the shops. Because, of course, remember, what was Resort World originally? Do you remember what it was?
It was just because I mean the first time I remember because it wasn't there for a couple of years. Then suddenly they were building it, and it took like at least 2 years to build it.
Yep. And
then it was just like a couple of restaurants, as far as I remember.
No, it was pretty limited at the beginning. Yeah.
It's actually its main thing. It was advertised when it opened it was an outlet shop center.
Oh, okay.
And because of the way that it's sort of built up, I don't think there's that many outlets left. I think a lot of it is charging kind of regular price, but they've still got a lot of stuff there. So
there's a Poundland there as well. So if you want snacks, you can go get Poundland.
Oh, you're kidding? They've got a Poundland there.
As far as I'm aware, yeah.
Jeez. They've also they've got all sorts of stuff there. They've also got a Lindt or Lindt, however you say it, the
chocolatier, yeah.
So that's not bad.
Sam's going to find that then.
There are options. I mean, you're not going to be out without food, And if you know somebody with a car, chances are they might nip into town for food as well. We've done that a couple of times. So.
Yeah, I still say to people, back in the day as well, especially the early years of TFNation, people used to jump. Well, Auto Assembly as well. People used to just go to Birmingham, and I go back to Matt as well, Matt Shatford, when he was talking about jumping. Because he stays in town. Apologies, I should have mentioned this more at the time, but he was saying that it's just it's like 20 minutes to the station. You've got all the food you want. You can stock up on food and drink. Like you can go to the Tesco's, get all the water you want for the day. You're doing all of that. And then you jump in on the train. It's 10, 15 minutes on the train. You're sat down, simple journey. And then you just stroll into TFN. Honestly, you don't notice. Like it's not a ball ache when you get the nice calm environment to come into TFNation. It's only when people worry about leaving TFNation to go and do something that they suddenly go, I've got to go this way. I'm going to miss all this stuff. Well, don't. If you plan correctly, it won't be an issue.
That's it.
Exactly.
I mean, there's an Asda down the road as well. It's about 10-minute car drive. Somebody will go be going, I'm off to ours, does anybody want anything? So it's always worth to keep an ear out,
So
I mean,
I just realised. Could you bring up Mucky's profile picture again? One of his questions or comments.
Yep, there it is.
lovely.
Have you ever been a trader at
Me?
Auto Assembly or TFNation? So speaking to Mucky, I
don't know him as a trader, but I know exactly who he is. I've forgotten his actual name, but I have spoken to him a few times.
Okay. Apologies, we're singling you out now on the stream. Apologies for that. He wasn't the one. I always remember there was a stallholder that sold soap one year.
Yes, like little Energon cubes.
Yeah, and they were really, really cool.
Yeah. My then girlfriend Lindsay, she bought some.
Okay, well we'll find out. If not, we've just unnerved somebody, maybe prevented them from going to TFNation. Yeah. So what did you do on your screen while we stopped somebody from going to the event for intimidation?
That'll be an achievement.
Okay, apologies, Monkey.
Yeah, sorry, we're thinking of somebody else. Sorry.
Look, when you get to my age, the events all blur in. I only recognize these guys because they wear name tags.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I've been doing this since 2009, so 16 years, apart from the 2 years we don't count. But so it's a lot of events. I'm like, was that 2012? Like John, 2012 or 2022?
I don't know where I am with my days, my times, my decades.
I can't remember what happened yesterday. Half the time, I'm like, what day is it today? Where am I?
Can I ask a favor? Because I don't know if there's other bits to discuss, but I get the feeling anyway we're probably coming to the end of the stream, or we're nearing the end. So for the people that are still watching, and also for anyone who jumps on and watches this later on, can you do us a favor? I mean, yes, there's the like and subscribe to these fine gentlemen. I'm assuming you've already done that anyway. But the big thing is, scroll down in the comments, not of this chat now, but in the video when it goes up, try and think of anything that you maybe either you don't have information on, you'd like information on, or you feel that maybe it hasn't been explained enough to newcomers. Now remember, TFNation do a stellar job of providing information on every aspect of their convention. They really do. They're really, really good for this. But the fact is that, especially as a newcomer or maybe just as an attendee only, you have an insight that the staff won't have. There's nothing against them, but they're coming at it from a different point of view. So if you need anything answered, these are the guys to do it. And, I'm not going to be doing any more big video hotel streams because there's probably not much point. Between these two, you've got all the information you need. But if there's other stuff, these guys do videos all the time. Say Tony is famous for doing his survival videos. So let these guys help you. And then at the event, you can reward them by just going up and saying hi or offering a Stella.
Works for me.
Not offering me money. I'm joking.
No, but like I say, I not to shoot me on home, but if you're not subscribed already, please like, share, and subscribe to me and to John. Like I say, I do my videos. When it comes to TFNation, I do a lot of videos, but they're a bit irregular when I upload them. It's just when I get the sort of, right, I'm going to do a video today, I have my normal regular schedule, and then I'll go, right, I'm going to do a TFNation video as well. So there's just basically, if you hit the notification bell, it'll tell you when I've got new videos. And as we get closer to TFNation, it'll be almost one a day, I think. So,
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy making the videos. I mean, I've been told to my face from Billy and a few other people, that organisers of TFNation, I've been told that how much they appreciate the help and basically the free advertisement, really, because we're helping to get it out there, word of mouth and all that. And I'm all too happy whenever I get a message from anybody that work for TFNation. It is really quite I find it really nice when that does happen, even though I'm not doing it for that. I'm doing it because I love the event and I want to just help get it out there to people for general knowledge to get the knowledge out there, get the guest information out there, because that's what I do on my channel. I talk about the guest lineup. Whenever there's a new guest announcement, I usually kind of wait and do like a bulk one, so there's like more than one. That's what I usually do. And then if there's something specific, then I will do either a live stream or I'll do like one that's a little bit more, has a reason for it. Like with Tony, that you do your question videos and stuff like that, like asking certain questions. And then I've done my own as well, asking certain questions. I tried to kind of deviate towards questions for first timers and also to the regulars, because that way you kind of get like get two sides of the coin.
Well, the thing though is if you are new, you don't have to do it, but I would like to see you do a video, like of your experience, the leading up to it, all that kind of stuff, and then do a video after the event, like I did this, we went there, we met No2, we met Soundwave SG-1, we met this, and this, we met this guest, we met that guest, bought this, check this out, what I've bought, and it's just nice to see, how you enjoyed it as well. I mean, you don't have to, it's not an important thing, but it's just a glimpse into the event through your eyes, because you can only experience it your way. Exactly. And like I say, you might go to a panel I don't, for example, or so I was like, I missed that one. I was doing this. I was at another panel, blah blah. So there's ways of sort of seeing the whole event, if that makes sense, rather than seeing what you see.
Well, also as well, let's face it, you guys. I mean, we all take for granted that a lot of those, like for instance, signatures, are going to be free. But for a newcomer, they're probably expecting Comic-Con treatment all the way.
Yeah.
And it's lovely. You're right. A lot of people do post stuff in the build-up to the event, but they don't always post stuff after the event. And I think sometimes they're worried about saying any negatives because they think that would look bad. But it's not, especially if you like frame it in a constructive way. It's a good thing. Like these guys have both said, they've both had criticisms of TFNation in the past. That has not stopped TFNation from viewing them very highly. I imagine Billy or Andrew or one of the other guys will be doing a stream with one of these guys or both of these guys or whatever. I mean, obviously, try and like hide the bit that Billy's on and just look at the other guys. But it's still, you can enjoy the stream. But TFNation still like values them. So
because I mean, any constructive criticism is good, because they might plan something, they think it's brilliant, and then only 2 people turn up to it, so they can take from that. It's like, well, why did it go wrong? So it's all good information that they can use to make it better next year,
and they will, they do. Oh gosh,
yeah.
Well, if there's any, obviously I don't know if anybody is currently watching this that has never been to TFNation or is considering, but after every event they do send out like a feedback survey. So if there is anything, so like if you have ever been to one, or what, this year's your first ever time going to a convention, and you have some grievances or have some problems, it's always good to kind of maybe use the feedback form as well to kind of get use that, or just message them in directly for the website, because like I said,
that conversation.
Have the conversation, have it that way, because end of the day, a bit of negative comment, like as Tony just said, negative and positive, they're both very, they are important for them to know, because all they want is to bring an event that everyone feels inclusive, everyone feels happy and safe in one environment, and that's exactly the whole idea of TFNation. So if there's any issue, like say if you've noticed something specific that you're not happy with, or there's been issues, like something's happened, always go to somebody with a TFNation voluntary shirt or t-shirt, and then they will try to put you to somebody like Billy or somebody to talk to that organise, or if it's very important,
probably Ruck or someone like that. Yeah, so basically the guys, I mean, I know we're sort of deviating a bit, and we can say this for a future, but it's basically, if you have a problem, guys are wearing light blue volunteer shirts, go to them. Then if the situation is serious enough, they'll go to the senior people who are wearing the darker t-shirts, or colleagues, they tend to be then the people that deal with the more practical side of stuff. So you won't see them on stage. They won't be like managing crews, but they will be dealing with practical issues around the event. And these guys like Dave Rock have a lot of experience of that. And like it, for instance, with the hotel, they are able to then present issues to the hotel in a certain way, in a certain manner. So yeah, you've always got that support there. So it's all good.
Right, before we consider bringing this to an end, Raymond's
Yep.
brought up a very good point that we should talk
Yes.
about. It says, a point of note for foreign visitors. This year is the first time you will need a UK ETA to enter the country. You need to get this sorted out if you don't want any delays.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't even know about that. That's a good point. I'm going to have to Google that myself.
Bear with me a second, people. So that's electronic travel authorization. That allows travelers to enter the UK for short stays without a visa. It is not a visa itself. It's a digital permission to travel. Okay. I would say if you're traveling from outside the UK, yeah, please
Look into that.
Look into that. And naturally, this is something where we are naturally clueless because we have not gone through this. However, what I'd suggest is maybe you guys actually after this, because you don't want me waffling on all of your shows. Reach out to Raymond, grab some of the info, and then maybe you could present it yourself at a future show.
Yeah,
just
that's
to help
a good
people
idea.
out.
Yeah, well, that's definitely something I'll bring up for a future video because I didn't even know about that myself.
No, me neither. Thanks for sharing, Ray. So it's a good shout.
Because I do know that is a big thing. Because there's a lot of countries that are starting to bring in things like visas. To like Spain, I've been to Spain 4 times over the years. No, 3 times. I get my numbers right. I've been 3 times to Spain, and they're starting to bring in things like travel visas and stuff to basically to non-European countries. Basically, somebody coming from a non-European country going to anywhere in Europe, you need a visa of some degree. That is coming in, and then I noticed Japan. They're thinking of bringing one in 2028 or something like that. So in a few years, but it seems to be a big thing now when you're traveling to a different country for a convention or whatever. It seems to be much more paperwork and things you need to consider before traveling. If you're somebody like that lives either in the Netherlands, or if you're somebody coming to the UK or wherever you're going from, whatever different country, it would be a good thing because check out the government website. That's a good place to start. Definitely. Government website is the best source for any changes like this.
Yep.
But just do your research. Is basically, if you are traveling from another country, just like I said, like what John said, just make sure that you've got all the information that you need. You know, anything that you need to fill in, any forms, anything like that, and any insurance or whatever, get it sorted. Get it sorted now as well.
Yep. Better sooner than later.
Yep. So the UK ETA will be valid for 2 years. You can sort it out on the website. It will cost about €20. So it's the sort of thing that's nice and simple. If you know about it. If you don't, then there might be some hassle. So yeah, these guys will help push that notice around. I would suggest I'm sure TFNation are aware of this, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did something involving this as well. And yeah, put it out there, help each other. Yeah.
I would have thought there would have been because, like I say, obviously a lot of the guests that come into the country are from either Canada or America. So I don't know what the changes if there's any changes between the UK and America at the moment because of what's going on with the tariff thing and all that. But yeah, you don't know. There's changes all the time when it comes to travel.
Right. So the thing is as well. Again, one of the things that you always need to do, and this is really important even for a seasoned TF Nation attendees, is because when you were saying just then, I don't know if TF Nation had done something about it. And I thought, well, hang on a second. We know Billy. We know what they're like.
Yeah.
There is no way that they have not done this. So rather than us end this show without saying anything, I went and checked. And of course, they've got something. They've got a page, important travel advice. Actually, guys, am I okay to share my screen just for
Yeah, of course, yeah.
a second?
Go for it. Yeah.
Okay, so let's just
See, Billy is on the point of these types of things. So yeah, again, a lot of the information can be gleaned from TFNation's website, but it's always good to check your own country's government website about travel and stuff like that. There you go.
So-
there it is, right
There
there.
we go. Look at that. Look at that.
Yeah.
What isn't he? Billy wrote this. I'll bet you anything he
Yeah.
wrote this.
It looks like his handiwork.
He's even highlighted stuff in bold. Oh. No, you see, this is great. But the thing is as well, if you don't know to look,
Yeah.
if you don't, let's face it, a challenge
Yeah, that's
of
been mentioned in the ETA app as well.
even the one of the weird things is we're so used to other events either not providing info or letting us down that you forget that TF Nation have never stopped providing info. They
Yeah,
are
that's
always trying to cover themselves. So yeah, I think it just be the case that maybe, you know what, I might just share this page on my screen in the next couple of days or on social media.
I was
and
going to
just
say
remind
it's probably
people.
good. It's probably a good thing to put that link on people going to TF Nation. Facebook
Yeah.
as well.
I'll tell you what, I'll do that tomorrow.
Yeah. And then at least then, if people are traveling from outside, they can go, right, yeah, I didn't realise. So, yeah, it's good.
Cool.
Cheers, Ray. I'd have never in a million years known about
Yeah,
that.
there
Thanks
you
a
go.
lot
You
for
see.
that. Yeah, and Raymond's come back saying, when I booked my flight tickets, there was zero notification of this. I found this out by just doing some standard research.
Yeah, that's the
There
other
you
thing
go.
as well. Is I reckon like a lot of air travel services and they won't put this information out there because it's one of those things. It's kind of something they're expecting you to know anyway, rather than providing that information just in case. But like Billy's right on the got his ear to the ground, that lad.
Hang on. Let's not blow too much smoke up his butt. Come on. Anyway, on that note of information sharing, gents, it's been a pleasure, and thank you so much, and thank you for your patience because I know, again, it's been another PDF, but thank you.
No, don't worry.
No, it's been obviously it's always a pleasure to have you on. I mean, I know obviously this was a reason why we assembled all three of us, but I'm happy to do these more often just for general chats or whatever. You know, I mean, that's the whole point. Is it's just a safe, fun, inclusive. That's why I like doing live streams myself because it's a very inclusive thing. People in real time can talk to you and they can get answers like they're getting now when it comes to TF Nation, or just be find out how to get information as well.
First time I started coming to these things, there was nothing like this, even remotely like this. I mean, Auto Assembly's website was kind of like, here's how to get there, and that was it. There was no any other information.
And even that was probably wrong because it wasn't written by Billy.
No, exactly. Yeah. But you know what I mean? But that's basically how it was. On their website was, here's how to get to it, and and that was it. There was nothing about travel, nothing about hotels or anything like that. It was just the basic of basic information. And like I said, there was nobody doing live streams going, right, this is the hotel situation. So yeah.
Right. So
service.
Yeah, I would like. So I'm just going to go through. So thank you to Sammy. Thank you to Silver Moon. Thank you to
no thanking her. Thank you.
Thanks to Firestorm, Sam, and Raymond. Transformers Fan 5000. Yeah, I think that's it.
Monkey.
Yeah, Monkey Nut Truck. Yeah, thank you to you as well. So thank you to everybody that has joined us, asked questions, been involved. Sorry we haven't brought everyone in for everything, but we wanted to get specific ones answered. So we've been a bit more, choiceage, if you want to mean. Been choosing them certain ways. But thank you so much for everyone for watching. At one point, we peaked about 10 views during the point. So thank you so much. But again, thank you so much to Adam for giving us his time this evening, and to Tony as well for joining us. And but yeah, before we go, where can people find you if they need to, if you want to? Tony, don't go?
Well, You can find me on here as Soundwave SG-1 or Instagram as Soundwave SG-1 or YouTube, not YouTube, X and everywhere. Soundwave SG-1 and all social medias, you'll find me. Just check out for this boat race. Or alternatively, look for this logo and you'll find me. So yeah, basically.
How about you, Adam? If you want to stress it, if you don't, it's fine.
I think the only place at the moment is on Instagram. So I am AD8M White on Instagram. I just post lots of weird photos. I am going to start, these guys will know, there are some other things going on at the moment with me which are very unusual, that are keeping me away from doing a lot of stuff. But I
Yep.
will be jumping back on my YouTube doco on Johnny Mnemonic pretty soon. So there will be some stuff there. But when I have stuff to post, I'll let you guys know.
Cool.
Okay. Right, so once this is no longer live, it will be watchable video. So once that is, I will put the link to the previous live stream in the description below. Once this is no longer live, and then you can also check out both for context. I did put the link in the chat as well, just so people know. But yeah, so thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining me this evening, and it's been a good chat. And so I will be back as normal, making some videos, and I will be definitely my next TFNation video or something. I will bring the ETA thing up. Definitely, that's a good bit of information to know about.
Cool.
So thank you to everyone. Thank you, boys, and take care and have a good weekend, everybody.
Totally pips.
Bye.
Bye-bye.